Have you ever stood at the edge of a choice, your heart racing like a drum, knowing that letting go could rewrite your entire story, but the fear of what's next keeps you rooted? That's where Maya, now 34, found herself one chilly autumn evening, gazing out her apartment window at the streetlights flickering like distant stars. The air carried the sharp scent of fallen leaves, hinting at change, but inside, her chest felt heavy, tethered to a relationship that had long stopped nourishing her soul. Life has a knack for nudging us into these moments, crossroads that force us to face who we are and what we're brave enough to release. Letting go of someone who doesn't truly see you is no small feat. It's not just about closing a door on a person, it's about unraveling the tangled threads of self-doubt, fear, and longing that keep you bound. Maya had spent years with Ethan, a 38-year-old charmer, whose warm smile masked a heart that rarely opened. Ethan was a dreamer, always chasing the next big idea, but his promises dissolved like sugar in rain. Maya held onto the hope that he'd change, that he'd one day see her, the woman who painted in stolen moments, who dreamed of opening an art studio, who loved with a quiet ferocity. But hope, she was learning, could be a trap as much as a guide. Carl Jung, the brilliant mind who mapped the depths of the human psyche, once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Maya's bond with Ethan wasn't just about love. It was a reflection of her shadow, the parts of herself she'd hidden away, too painful to face. Jung described the shadow as the traits we bury, the insecurities we deny, the truths we'd rather not see. For Maya, her shadow whispered that she wasn't enough, a belief sown in childhood, when her parents' praise was as scarce as sunlight in winter. Her father, a practical man, had once dismissed her art with a curt, "It won't pay the bills." Ethan's indifference echoed that wound, and yet Maya stayed, her shadow convincing her she deserved no better. Why do we cling to connections that dim our spark? It's not just comfort or habit, it's the shadow's subtle pull, guiding our choices like an unseen current. Maya's best friend, Lila, now 36, saw it clearly. Lila, with her contagious laugh and a kitchen always smelling of fresh bread, had watched Maya fade over the years. One evening, as they sipped chamomile tea in Lila's cozy living room, the glow of candles casting soft shadows, Lila shared her own story. At 30, she'd left a soul-crushing job that left her hollow, a leap that felt like diving into the dark. "I was terrified," Lila said, her eyes bright with the fire of someone who'd found her way. "But that fear led me to myself. It showed me I could trust my own heart." Her words were a seed in Maya's mind, though the ground was still hard and unyielding. The fear of emptiness is often what keeps us tethered. Maya dreaded the silence Ethan's absence would bring, the empty chair at her dining table, the unanswered messages, the quiet nights. But Jung's wisdom offers a different lens. That emptiness isn't a void to flee, but a canvas for rebirth. Letting go, Maya would soon discover, wasn't about losing something. It was about making room for the woman she was meant to become. Our relationships are like still lakes at dawn, reflecting not just our hopes, but the hidden currents of our soul. For Maya, Ethan was a mirror of her unhealed wounds, a reminder of the worth she sought outside herself. At 34, she was starting to see that holding on to him wasn't love. It was fear, masquerading as devotion. Jung taught that every relationship, even the ones that hurt, is a teacher, guiding us toward our shadow. Maya's connection to Ethan wasn't a coincidence. It was a call to explore the parts of herself she'd long ignored. Growing up, Maya had been the good girl, always molding herself to others' expectations. Her dreams of being an artist were tucked away like old sketchbooks in a forgotten corner of her childhood home. Her father's words, "Art won't pay the bills," had rooted deep, convincing her that her passions were frivolous. Ethan's dismissal of her needs felt eerily familiar, and her shadow latched onto it, whispering that she should settle. But shadows aren't just barriers, they're doorways. Jung urged us to approach our inner voids with curiosity, not fear, and Maya was ready to listen. She started journaling again, a habit she'd abandoned in her 20s. In her sun-dappled apartment, surrounded by half-finished canvases and the sharp scent of turpentine, she poured out her fears, being alone, failing as an artist, never feeling worthy. Each word was a step into the dark, a way of charting her inner world. One night, flipping through a book of Jung's quotes, she found one that stopped her cold. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. It was a wake-up call. She couldn't heal what she refused to face. To deepen her journey, Maya began seeing a therapist, Dr. Nora Patel, a warm woman in her late 50s whose gentle voice felt like a lifeline. Dr. Patel's office was a haven of soft rugs, shelves of books, and the faint hum of a white noise machine. During one session, Dr. Patel asked, "What does Ethan give you that you can't give yourself?" Maya's breath caught. She'd never considered that the validation she craved was something she could nurture within. Dr. Patel shared her own story, leaving a stifling marriage at 40, a choice that led her to rediscover her passion for psychology. "Letting go is like pruning a rosebush," she said, her eyes kind but firm. "It's painful, but it's how you bloom." Those words shifted something in Maya, planting the idea that releasing Ethan was about more than him. It was about freeing herself from the belief that she needed anyone else to feel whole. Letting go is like standing at the edge of a forest, the path ahead cloaked in fog. You know you need to move, but the familiar, even if it stings, feels safer than the unknown. For Maya, now 34, the decision to release Ethan came slowly, like the first light of dawn. She was exhausted, tired of apologizing for wanting more, tired of waiting for Ethan to wake up, tired of feeling like a shadow in her own life. The moment of clarity came one rainy afternoon in a cozy bookstore, the kind with creaky floors and the rich smell of old paper. Maya was drawn to a worn copy of Jung's Memories, Dreams, Reflections, and as she sank into a leather armchair, the rain tapping the windows, she read about individuation, the journey to become your true self. It hit her like a wave. Holding on to Ethan was keeping her from that path. She wasn't just sacrificing her peace, she was betraying the vibrant, creative woman inside her. That evening, Maya faced Ethan. They sat at her small kitchen table, the air heavy with unspoken truths. Ethan, now 38, leaned back, arms crossed, his eyes skimming past her. "I don't see why this matters so much," he said, his voice edged with annoyance. But Maya, strengthened by weeks of journaling and Dr. Patel's guidance, found her courage. "I deserve someone who sees me," she said, her voice steady despite the knot in her chest. "And I'm learning to see myself." Ethan left without a fight, the door clicking shut like the end of a chapter. As the silence settled, Maya felt a strange blend of grief and freedom, like a bird released from a cage. Jung taught that letting go isn't about erasing the past, but embracing its lessons. Maya didn't resent Ethan. She saw him as a teacher, one who showed her the strength she carried all along. To honor this moment, she began a new painting, a bold, abstract swirl of blues and golds, inspired by the feeling of breaking free. Each stroke was a vow to herself, a promise to choose her own light. But letting go wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Maya had to face the emptiness Ethan left behind, the quiet that felt both daunting and sacred. Instead of filling it with noise, she leaned into it. She revived old passions, like pottery, and made time for Lila's weekly baking nights, where the smell of warm dough and the sound of laughter felt like home. One evening, as they shaped loaves and sipped wine, Lila grinned and said, "You're glowing, Maya. It's like you're finally you." Those words were a gift, a reminder that the emptiness Jung spoke of wasn't a loss. It was a space to create a life that sang with her truth. Imagine waking up one day and feeling the weight you've carried for years simply gone. That's what Maya, now 34, felt months after letting go of Ethan. Her apartment, once a place of quiet sorrow, was now a sanctuary, bursting with life. Canvases lined the walls, the earthy scent of clay from her pottery projects mingling with the warmth of morning coffee. She was rediscovering herself, like an explorer mapping a forgotten land, each step revealing a piece of who she was meant to be. Jung believed that releasing what no longer serves us shifts our energy, like clearing clouds to reveal the sun. Maya felt this in small, powerful ways. She made decisions with newfound clarity, submitted her artwork to galleries with courage, and woke each day with a spark of purpose. One afternoon, an email arrived from Clara Ruiz, a 60-year-old gallery owner with a passion for bold new voices. Clara wanted to feature Maya's paintings in an exhibit. "Your work has soul," she wrote. "It speaks of liberation." Maya's eyes filled with tears, not just for the opportunity, but for the woman she was becoming, one who no longer needed external approval to know her worth. This change rippled outward. As Maya embraced her authenticity, her world began to shift. She attracted people who matched her energy, friends like Jamal, a 40-year-old musician who loved late-night talks about life's mysteries, and Sarah, a 29-year-old yoga instructor who welcomed Maya into her warm, grounding classes. These connections weren't draining. They were life-giving, like rain on parched soil. Jung's idea that our outer world mirrors our inner state was unfolding before her eyes. Healing, though, isn't a straight line. There were nights when Maya missed Ethan, not the real him, but the fantasy of who she'd hoped he'd be. In those moments, she followed Dr. Patel's advice. Write to the younger you, the one who thought she needed him. Maya's letters were raw, brimming with love for the girl who once believed love meant shrinking herself. This practice helped her see nostalgia as a trick of her shadow, pulling her backward. Each time she resisted, she grew stronger. One evening at a pottery class, Maya met Eleanor, a 45-year-old single mother who'd recently left an abusive marriage. As they shaped clay under the hum of the studio's kiln, Elena shared her story of reclaiming her life. "I thought letting go would shatter me," she said, her hands steady on the wheel. "But it built me stronger." Their friendship became a pillar for Maya, a reminder that letting go creates space for bonds that uplift and inspire. Letting go isn't just a personal victory, it's a quiet revolution that reshapes your entire world. For Maya, now 34, choosing herself was like tossing a pebble into a pond, the ripples touching her art, her relationships, her dreams. She was no longer the woman who dimmed her light to please others. She was a flame, burning bright with authenticity. Jung believed that healing our inner world transforms how we engage with the outer one. Maya saw this in her newfound confidence. At Clara's gallery exhibit, her paintings sold out, and she overheard a guest murmur, "These feel alive, like they're telling a story." Standing under the glow of string lights, surrounded by strangers who saw her worth, Maya realized she no longer craved Ethan's validation, or anyone's. She was enough, and that truth was a quiet, unshakable power. Her relationships began to reflect this shift. Lila noticed it first, teasing, "You're a magnet for good people now." Jamal and Sarah became her chosen family, their late-night conversations a far cry from Ethan's dismissive silences. Even her relationship with her parents softened. During a rare dinner, Maya shared her gallery success, and her father, now 70, surprised her with a quiet, "I'm proud of you." It wasn't everything, but it was a start, a sign that her inner healing was reshaping her outer world. Maya's courage began to inspire others. Elena started a blog about her journey, crediting Maya's bravery as a spark. At a local coffee shop, Maya overheard Tessa, a 25-year-old woman, talking about leaving a toxic partner. Normally reserved, Maya approached her and shared a nugget from Dr. Patel. "Letting go is like planting a seed. You don't see the growth right away, but it's there." Tessa's eyes glistened, and they exchanged numbers, a small connection that felt like a ripple of change. Jung's teachings remind us that our energy shapes our reality. By releasing Ethan, Maya broke an energetic tie that had drained her for years. She felt lighter, as if she'd shed a heavy cloak. This clarity fueled her dreams. She began sketching plans for her art studio, staying up late under the glow of her desk lamp, each line a step toward a future she could feel in her bones. Letting go hadn't just freed her from Ethan, it had unlocked her ability to create a life that felt like hers. Sometimes, the greatest gift of letting go is the courage to step into the unknown. For Maya, now 34, releasing Ethan was like walking into a vast, uncharted forest, daunting yet brimming with possibility. She'd spent so long fearing the emptiness of what might come next that she hadn't seen its magic, a place where dreams take root, where the soul finds its song. One spring morning, Maya woke to the chatter of birds outside her window, their voices a reminder of life's quiet beauty. On a whim, she booked a solo trip to a coastal town she'd always dreamed of visiting, where the ocean crashed against rugged cliffs and the air tasted of salt and freedom. As she walked along the shore, her bare feet sinking into cool sand, she felt a lightness she hadn't known since childhood. The waves rolled in with a steady rhythm, each one whispering, "You are enough." Jung believed nature could awaken our deepest wisdom, and for Maya, this moment was a homecoming to herself. At the town's quaint inn, Maya met Beatrice, an 82-year-old artist whose weathered hands still danced with paintbrushes. Beatrice's room was a burst of color, canvases stacked against walls, the scent of oil paint mingling with lavender tea. Over a shared pot, Beatrice shared her story of letting go. At 50, she'd left a safe but stifling career as a teacher to chase her art, a choice that baffled her family. "They called me foolish," she said, her eyes twinkling. "But the unknown isn't empty, it's full of you waiting to be found." Her words sank into Maya, a reminder that the emptiness of letting go is a canvas for creation. Inspired, Maya began to see the unknown as an invitation. She said yes to things that scared her, teaching an art workshop, joining a hiking group, submitting her work to a national competition. Each choice was a brushstroke on the canvas of her new life. One evening, at a hiking group bonfire, she met Leo, a 37-year-old environmentalist with a gentle smile and a love for stories. Unlike Ethan, Leo listened, truly listened, when Maya shared her dreams. Their connection grew slowly, rooted in mutual respect, a quiet contrast to the urgency she'd once mistaken for love. But the true gift of the unknown was Maya's bond with herself. She started a daily ritual of morning walks, the crunch of gravel under her boots grounding her in the moment. She'd pause to sketch, a twisted tree, a fleeting cloud, each drawing a love letter to her resilience. Jung's concept of individuation was coming alive. Maya was becoming the woman she was always meant to be, defined not by others, but by her own truth. The journey wasn't without stumbles. Some days, doubt crept in, whispering that she'd made a mistake. But Maya had learned to sit with those feelings, to see them as passing clouds. Dr. Patel's words echoed, "The unknown is where growth lives." Maya leaned into that truth, trusting that each step into the wilderness was guiding her toward a life of purpose and joy. Standing on the cliffs of that coastal town, the wind weaving through her hair, Maya felt a deep gratitude for the path of letting go. It had shown her that the unknown isn't a place to fear, but a space to create, a place to paint her future with the colors of her soul. As the sun sank below the horizon, casting a golden glow across the sea, she knew this was just the beginning.